Hello and welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. I am here to introduce my newest project, Evangeline, my she shed on wheels. Essentially, what I am building is a giant structure that is on a trailer, and because it's me, it has to be sculptural. I will be building a dragon-shaped she shed on wheels. I had a little bit of a hiccup. I was initially intending on starting this filming way back in May. It is now July 5th, and I am still in pieces and haven't really sorted things out. Many of you who know me personally or are following my Instagram know that I was in a car accident. My car got basically totaled. I was fine, there's no injuries, but the car was gone. I ended up buying a pickup truck, and it was kind of fortuitous timing. I had already started in putting together the trailer. The trailer came, it took a month to get here. I put the thing together because I bought the cheap Harbor Freight trailer and it was missing one particular part, and I also wanted to pick up some marine grade plywood to start messing around with some of the techniques. I was in my little Toyota IM, which is a hatchback. I was looking for a part in an area that I don't normally go to, waiting for a sheet of plywood to ironically be cut in half so I could fit into my Toyota IM. Driving along, and this dude with road rage ended up putting his car in reverse in a one-way and backed into me. Needless to say, the car got totaled, and it had occurred to me all the while throughout that process that if I only had a pickup truck, I would not be in the situation I was in. Fortunately, I was able to actually get the truck that is going to haul the trailer that is very much so going to be part of this sculpture now. I'm excited about that, but that whole incident and thing happened the end of May, and it really sucked out my mojo. I had a little bit of PTSD. I was afraid to get behind the wheel for a couple weeks, and just mentally, I was like kind of offset. So I spent some time just taking a break from everything. It messed up my filming schedule and what I had planned. And then I spent a couple of weeks filming a whole bunch of footage of these videos that I was going to release this summer instead of jumping into the dragon. And they were just bits and pieces of videos that were ideas that while I was making other environments, they never kind of fit into those things, but they were great ideas and some things I wanted to explore more until about halfway through 2.5 weeks into filming those videos, I realized I was procrastinating starting this dragon. I really needed to get off my behind and stop procrastinating, so I scrapped everything. I packed up all the stuff for those videos mid-filming, set aside all of the footage, and told myself it's now or never. I need to get moving on this dragon she shed that I was so excited about at the start of the spring. I couldn't wait to jump into it. So that's where I am right now. I think I was kind of procrastinating not only because my mojo kind of got rocked over that whole thing, but also I was a little bit in fear. This project is something that it's going to be, it's basically the largest thing I've taken on this channel. It is not the largest physical space sculpture that I've ever constructed. However, it is going to be the most technically challenging sculpture that I have ever taken on. So I think I was a little bit hesitant for that. Also a little bit hesitant for the financial investment that this is costing me. I am not monetized. I am a part-time teacher. So y'all know teachers don't make all that much money. Everything I have done on this channel has basically come out of pocket. And I think I was also a little bit nervous about the financial investment and the fear of what if this thing fails. So we're about to embark on a journey in a very vlog type of setting and footage where I have no idea what the outcome is going to be. I don't have a backup plan this time. I know a lot of times it looks like I am just jumping in and winging it, and a lot of times I am winging it, but I always have a backup safety plan where, like, you know, if this particular piece of furniture doesn't quite fit, I can make this piece of furniture and fall back on this skill that I know is going to work. Well, in this case, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. I really am jumping into a woodworking technique that I have never attempted before. So I think there's that sense of nervousness, but there's also this sense of excitement, and there's something that I've called exafraz, which really means that I'm excited and frazzled all at the same time. That's kind of what I'm feeling as I'm going through this, and this could be a major crash and burn. I know I say that every time, but this time I really am charting into unknown territory. I have a trailer that is the least expensive trailer I could find. It cost me about $600 from Harbor Freight. It holds 1,750 pounds. I started out with sheds, and the weight of those things became very clear to me that I was not going to be able to construct this in the same way that I would a regular shed with the timber structures and putting up walls. That kind of construction method does not scare me at all. I've ripped down walls, I've set up walls, I can put up studs, drywall, and sheetrock. I did this studio, but I knew I was gonna need some kind of lighter weight structure to do this dragon with, so I started thinking back to other methods of construction, and I landed on stitch and glue bolt building. So back in the day, this is like in my undergrad, which I don't want to admit was at least, almost 20 years ago now, okay, when I purchased this book. And I love to kayak, and on the East Coast there was like beautiful woods and lakes that you could kayak on, and I always said, oh, I'm going to eventually build someday a stitch and glue kayak, which is why I bought this book. I never built the stitch and glue kayak. This book sat on my bookshelf, and I moved it from the East Coast to here, and it was always something I kind of picked through. I really loved the idea and the concept of what stitch and glue was, but I never got around to actually building that boat. I have watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how to make the stitch and glue boats, which seems like is going to be the best option for this type of application. It's going to be lightweight, it's going to be super strong, and it's going to be weatherproof. Stitch and glue boat building it's exactly what it sounds like, where you take panels of plywood and you stitch them together using either zip ties or wire ties, and then you glue with an epoxy. You all know how much I love epoxy, so this is going to be an interesting summer of me geared up in a respirator almost most of the time while I'm getting the main parts of this done. But the epoxy ends up becoming the joint. You go ahead and snip all of the stitching that you had temporarily holding it together and fully glass over epoxy and fiberglass the entire structure, and that creates the strength. This allows me to make a very lightweight structure, and it also allows me to make something very sculptural. Once I determined what type of building structure I was going to go ahead and do, I had to do some research on what I wanted to do for form. I knew it was going to be a dragon. I do this cardboard assignment with my 3D students. I've looked at a lot of these planar sculptures that you can make out of cardboard, and I've always loved the geometric forms. I went online knowing that there were these paper type of crafts that were animal shapes. You can get them in cats, foxes, all kinds of woodland creatures. And I was fortunate enough to find a couple different dragons. I could not find a dragon that really fit what I wanted to have as theme, because I wanted a sleeping dragon. So I am Frankensteining some paper parts, and I will get into this a little bit more detail when I go into the video on creating the model. But that is my starting point, and what I did want to talk about here on this is that the facets of this are going to allow for me to have a stitched together plywood panel at each section. So each one of these will be a faceted plywood panel that will then, in theory, be stitched and glued together using the bolt building process. Because this is some territory that I have never been down before, I am going to take you through the entire process of this start to finish, my thinking process, my planning process. There are things like I needed to put together the trailer. I know I'm building this on my driveway where the direct sun is super hot. If you've watched my garden videos, you know what I'm talking about. So I have to install canopies. So there's a certain prep work of getting the area situated that I need to do. And then there's also the prep work of information. So building the model is going to be key, and I do need to build a scale model of this thing out of wood. Once I've rendered the paper and I've got the structure and scale all sorted out, I need to play with the technique. And before I go building this giant thing full scale, because it is a large, as I said, monetary investment, but also it's a lot of labor, a lot of physical labor, a lot of time investment to do something without trying to work out a model first. So the first thing I'm going to do is build a scale model of what the exterior of this thing is going to be, and it will be large enough for the cats to be in, because why not, right? Might as well get something out of it. The model will become a cat house, so I will have a miniature dragon that the cat's being able to sleep in. Once I've been able to work that out, I'm going to jump into building the large scale outer shell. Later on in the series, once the outer shell structure is done, which is going to include some new leaded glass work. So I've only been working with stained glass in the traditional indoor use. You can use it indoors, non-waterproof with the copper foil. I need to teach myself leading, because leading is the stuff that you can use for outdoors, and there's going to be a major feature in the Dragon, you know, that is going to be stained glass and also allow a window into this thing. So that's a process that I'm going to be learning along the way. I am going to need to learn to probably do some solar power or something so that we can get this thing having some energy on it. That's a learning experience that's coming along for the journey with this. As this progresses, there are going to be multiple facets of this crazy project where I am just kind of getting my feet wet and exploring what those aspects are going to be. And then once the exterior is done, I will be furnishing the entire inside. And since it is a sculptural form, all of the furnishings need to be custom done. There will be a bed, there will be a seating area, and probably some kind of like table, kind of loungy type of thing. It becomes another environment that I'm doing, but this time I'm doing from the outside in. So, that's a lot to be said. I hope you stick around for this journey and watch the craziness unleash as I get going on this. I have no time frame, no expected time frame. I am just going to do what I can each week, and I will be presenting you some footage of what I've accomplished that week, hopefully weekly. We're just going to see how it goes. If it takes me 6 months, great. If it takes me a year, it's going to take a year. That's what it's going to be. I am working a full-time job. Well, I call it full-time. Technically, I am part-time, but I teach 5 classes in 2 different areas, so it is a full-time workload. It is what it is, y'all, and I just hope that you enjoy watching this all unfold. So, please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already, and let's go get and do this.